last night on The Bachelor.
This is your last chance. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland.
Bruh.
Alright folks, it's Fantasy Suite Week, and you know what that means. The all-important episode of The Bachelor where Peter gets to explore his physical connection with each of the women, at least the ones who aren't saving themselves for marriage. And of course, the producers are oh so happy to lay out protection and snacks for everyone like the cool moms that they are.
There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Now, there's a lot to unpack this episode, so let's not waste any more time. And as per usual, please no posting outright spoilers in the comment section below, even though we're so close to the end. Sleuthing or anything accidentally posted by Chris Harrison's girlfriend is okay. Yes, there was a tweet. Lauren Zima posted this, and then immediately deleted it. But I'll add that she very quickly clarified that the reason she deleted the tweet was because, according to her, it was confusingly worded, and that she meant it like, how could he possibly not pick her after this? Alright though, back to the recap where it's week 9, and the episode begins right where the last one left off, with Madison pulling Peter aside after the hometown's rose ceremony. Since the fantasy suite and a possible engagement are on the horizon, Madison needs to let Peter know exactly where she's at with specific and direct communication.
Sorry.
Essentially, Madison gets out that she would have a hard time moving forward if Peter were to spend the night with the other women. Not that she can't move forward, just that it would be hard. And really, Madison is having a difficult time being direct. And that's the key issue in the chat here. Because when Peter's like, so would you leave if I spent the night with the other women? Madison's like,
I don't want to tell you yes or no. I just...
Well, no.
And it just sort of ends on a vague actions speak louder than words from Madison and a I'm crazy about you from Peter. And then a hug. Nothing direct and no mention of how Madison is saving herself. Just on to the next day, where Peter and the women are headed to Gold Coast, Australia. And Peter's really thinking about what Madison sort of said, and weighing that with the fact that he does have 2 other women in this, and he needs to consider those relationships as well. Madison arrives in her hotel room to enjoy a moment to herself and think about her feelings. Oh, no, someone's coming in. It's Hannah Ann. Oh, and Victoria too. Because in a diabolical move from the producers, they've decided to have all 3 women stay in the same place during Fantasy Suite Week and watch as the others come back the morning after their date.
How did your guys' hometowns go? Were they good? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So much drama. I am
Do you think-
done with I'm just disgusted right now.
So great. So great. Fortunately, Peter arrives to break up the awkward silence and take Hannah Ann away on the first Fantasy Suite date of the week, where Peter gets to put on some of his famous moves for the women.
It's unusual finding a good-looking girl like you alone like this.
So Peter and Hannah Ann's date begins, and the two will be exploring the Gold Coast on jet skis before they sit down on a beach to chat about how their relationship has developed, and then have some classic Gold Coast pashing. And really, this is the easy fantasy suite we're seeing. No drama, rarely a moment of difficult conversation, and just 2 people saying how amazing everything is.
When I tell you that I am falling in love with you, I mean that with every single fiber of my being.
This is about as smooth a sailing as it gets for Peter. Heck, Hannah Ann even gives him the complete green light to do whatever he needs to do with the other women on the other fantasy suite dates.
I want you to do what you have to do. I don't care. It's about being together in the end.
And with that, it's time for the fantasy suite card, where it says, should you choose to spend the night together, take this key and get to it, kids. So the 2 head on upstairs, explore their penthouse suite, and then reenact their favorite scene from Titanic. Naturally, back with Madison and Victoria, the 2 wonder just exactly what Peter and Hannah Ann might be getting up to on their date.
They're probably getting ready for their dinner portion right now.
We're ready to go to bed.
The next morning, Hannah Ann comes back from her night with Peter, and the other two women are like, OMG, you look so cute and tan, really tan, I could just kill you, literally. And when they ask Hannah Ann how it went, there's just this awkward silence that hangs in the air. Meanwhile, in Hannah Ann's mind, she's saying,
Sex. We had sex.
Alright, but there's no time to waste here, on to the next lady and the second fantasy suite date, which is with Victoria. And no one showcases how I'm feeling about another week of Victoria better than Victoria herself here.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
Yeah, let's do it. Can't wait. So Peter takes Victoria on a helicopter ride to a cliffside waterfall where they get to sit down and chat about how their relationship has gone so far. How things have sucked, especially the hometown date. But hey, this day's been going great so far.
We haven't even fought.
I know.
Yet.
Yikes. Back with Madison and Hannah Ann, the two are chatting about what Madison told Peter at the last rose ceremony. Madison tells Hannah Ann that she laid out her expectations for herself and Peter, and that she wouldn't be okay if Peter slept with the others. And Hannah Ann's like, not sure if I should tell her now or let it blow up on her date later. At the night portion of the fantasy suite date with Peter and Victoria, the two really start getting down to it. And by down to it, I mean discussing what the heck has been happening all season. Peter expresses that he doesn't want her to change who she is, but he needs to know that if he accidentally miscommunicates or says something she takes in a way he didn't intend, that she won't run off. And he asks, what is it that makes you do that? To which Victoria naturally responds with,
I don't know what you want.
Hey, Victoria, stop. Don't push me away. We can't fight. Not tonight. Not on fantasy suite night. This is why you're here! So Victoria says, I know you're good for me, and I want to be good for you. I know this is good. And the two get on a good note before Peter hands her this good note. The dynamic duo then enter their suite and engage in playing board games all night and nothing else. The next morning, Victoria lays this one down.
I was falling in love with you, but now I'm in love.
Before the two split off and Victoria heads back to the Final Three villa, where Madison and Hannah Ann are waiting for her and to hear how everything went with her and Peter's date.
You guys look so cute. I do not look cute.
No, yeah, you do. You look so skinny.
Oh, thank you.
Which in girl talk translates to, you look like children and you're a total bitch. And once again, the women ask how things went on their overnight, and there's another awkward silence hanging in the air. Meanwhile, in Victoria's mind, she's saying,
Sex. We had sex.
time for the final fantasy suite of the week, the all-important date with Madison. The two head up to get a sweet view of the Gold Coast on top of this building, cause maybe some adrenaline will get Madison on board with the whole fantasy suite thing. But okay, enough of canoodling on top of a building, let's move on to the night portion of the date because here's where the real talk is going to happen. The two sit down and both have the idea that they need to be open and honest with the other person about what's going on in their mind. For Madison, it's about how she's saving herself for marriage. For Peter, it's about how many board games he played with the other women the nights before. So, it begins. And Peter says he struggled after their conversation at the last rose ceremony because he does have two other relationships going on. And Madison agrees that she too didn't like where things left off. So, she opens up.
I decided that I wanted to save myself for marriage.
Now, here's the tea as I see it. There's nothing wrong with saving yourself for marriage. That's your choice. You get that right. There's also nothing wrong with being not okay with this whole fantasy suite thing. But Peter had the right to know about this before he went and met your family. Telling him at the 11th hour is just not that fair for him. I mean, we can debate all day about some of the questionable decisions Peter's made so far this season, but this tough decision could have been avoided. I get that it's not an easy thing to talk about for Madison, but when someone's meeting your family and you're potentially talking about engagement so quickly, you need to lay the cards out on the table. Then there's a proper amount of time to think and talk through this and make the best decision for both parties. And honestly, no shade at Madison. I think she was just afraid to bring it up before, and now it's forced to come out at an inconvenient time. But even if it wasn't her intention to hold on to this so long, it's still not a great look. Either way, it's coming out now. Madison says, I'm not trying to come off as judgmental or as holding something over your head, but I wouldn't be able to say yes to an engagement if you slept with the other women. I've really tried to put you being with the other women out of my mind. I've fought that because you've been worth it, but I can't wrap my head around you potentially getting down on one knee a week after you slept with someone else. And at this point, there's nothing left for Peter to do but be honest.
I have been intimate. And I can't lie to you about that.
Then there's a long pause. Madison processes, and she gets up. After a while, Peter gets up too, and he goes to talk with Madison. He holds her for some time before he says,
I can't lose you.
Peter doesn't want to lose her. He lays it out. I want us to be able to get past this. Please don't walk away. I know I'm not perfect. I'm not even close. But if you can see us together forever, don't walk away. And before Madison makes a decision, the episode ends. Madison walking off with a cliffhanger. Will she stay, or will she leave the show? So there you have it, the Bachelor Breakdown and recap for Week 9 Fantasy Suite Week. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on the week in the comment section below. Now there's a lot of Bachelor goodness still to come, and a dramatic preview for next week ahead of us, so stay tuned to the channel, as the Bachelor Preview Breakdown for Week 10 will be out tomorrow. Until then, Bachelor Fantake, out.
Sex. We had sex. I had sex with her.